Ben, I would love to have you basically kick this off for the community. This is going to be a director's cut. I think that's going to be the exciting part. So you will see a bit on what has each team member been working on and what's the team been working on. Ben, why don't you kick it a bit off? Talk to us a bit on what's been happening on the product side. What has your team been working on in Q3? Give us a bit the behind the scenes. People can read the transparency report themselves with all the summary, but share a bit from your end how Q3 went.
Of course, thank you so much. You already kind of introduced me already, huh? So no need for that anymore.
But I think, Ben, why don't you share a bit your background? How long have you been with the company? I mean, you have done our very first spotlight video, so I know people know you, but I think it would still be nice so that they kind of get a bit of a background here.
Of course. I remember I was on the first official call when Cake kicked off, but at the time I was still working at my previous company. And then I was living in Switzerland at that time. So I had the opportunity to move to Singapore to work for Cake, and also kind of a personal reason a little bit. Since then, the team was quite small in the beginning, and we tried to move very fast. The team grew a lot, which is pretty cool. And it's hard to keep up with the team sometimes, as I'm leading the team on the engineering side, and the product team is so quick in developing that it's kind of a furious, but in a very good way, product management at the moment. Yeah.
Cool. Share a bit about Q3.
Of course. So Q3, initially, I think it was planned that we do a little bit of restructuring, if I remember, like refactoring, getting things in order. And then we had so many good ideas that wasn't really possible for this quarter. So the first thing we had to do, or we wanted to do, was the restructuring of the whole Lapis product, right? So it was a challenge to make this super easy for the user, make it more appealing, like visually. The user doesn't have to worry about the trades anymore, right? So what we did is we got completely rid of all the fees. So if you remember, we had an entry fee and an exit fee, and that mattered depending on how much revenue the batch made, and all that. All these complications are gone now, and I hope that really makes it easy for new users to trust also the new product and to see their revenue in a very easy way. Plus, then we added the bonus for that, right? So before, there was like the upside that when a trade went well, that the user gets a bit more. But it also had the risk, right? When the trade went bad, that the user could lose money, right? So with the bonus rounds, that's really only now upside anymore. So if the price, for example, Bitcoin goes up, then the user benefits directly from that once it reaches a certain threshold, right?
This can actually happen tomorrow. I don't know if you have been following it. Tomorrow it can actually happen, yeah. Fingers crossed.
Maybe. I mean, Bitcoin is Bitcoin, right? For example, Ethereum is even more volatile. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, fingers crossed that it happens, right? Let's see. The community is already a bit worried about the price at the moment, right? Because they're looking at the price that we show on Cake, and it doesn't really match with what we see on the internet, right? So, but no worries, we take like a very official price. So if the bonus is hit, then of course we're gonna pay that. Yep. Then getting rid of fees also makes the transactions that the user can export much easier, right? Because it seemed a bit like a hassle to put that in any other program and get a good report on that. You always have to minus the fees, and you weren't like really sure, is that really like the end summary of my balances? That was I think a big improvement there. Then on a note, we also change the transaction export, like that CSV file, a little bit for the user, with mixed opinions from the community, I would say, because we also kind of removed a little bit of information out of that, and but we're still figuring out what is best for all stakeholders. We just wanted to make it very easy and quick to generate that CSV export, right? And so far, this is like one version, and as you know, at Cake, everything changes very quickly. So yeah, let's see. We're always trying to improve that. Cool. Then, in addition to the Lapis restructuring, we also introduced the US dollar token Lapis, right? USDT Lapis. The challenge there was also to bring a ERC20 token to Cake. I think that went very smoothly. And users already request, why not use a different network, right? So yeah, we can also look into that. Let's see how the demand is, I would say. Cool. Then we had the confectionery, which is our VIP program. I think Fabio also wants to talk a bit about later, which is in a very base version at the moment, and users already saw that there's like a 50% bonus on coins we will offer, and don't want to, there's like a small sneak peek later how that could look, but nothing is super fixed. Let's see. At the moment, the benefits are rather basic. What we had to change there was the referral program that was fee-based, right? And because we got rid of the fees on Lapis, we had to come up with another way how to reward referrals. And so this also is much simpler now, I think. We just pay a base percentage, and yeah, depending on what level you are, the more rewards you get from the referrals as well. And I think, actually, a note on that, I think users are first were a bit disappointed that the first tier, like there's a sweet tooth, right? And then there's the apprentice baker. And the apprentice baker to freeze 10,000 DeFi didn't really seem like a lot of improvement you get, but actually the double referral bonus is actually really nice, because when you actually do your calculations and get your friends to pay their Bitcoin or Ether into the Lapis product, you see that actually the returns are so much better now than the previous program. So actually, yeah, maybe the users should look into that a bit further. Yep, but that will still change, right? The confectionery, we also try to make it as attractive to the user as possible. Technical challenge there was the freezing of the DeFi. I think we solved that in a very clean way. So with this freezer, we also have the possibility in the future to maybe use that in other, have other use cases for that. For example, get like an extra bonus if you freeze your Bitcoin in some kind of way. Yeah, let's see. We have a lot of opportunities with that. Cool. Then I think that's mostly the biggest topics we touched in last quarter. We did a lot of small things, I would say. We did a lot of bug fixing as always, but these are the big topics.
What was your, like, to summarize all this, what was your personal highlight out of Q3 if you had to pick one?
Definitely the confectionery, because it's always a lot of fun when you can add a product that's like really cake, right? A lot of branding, like we could come up with names for the different tiers.
Yeah.
Yeah, freezer and stuff like that, right?
I still remember that brainstorming session when, yeah, we were throwing out all those terms, and I think that was a really, really exciting time.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah. So whenever we add a new product, we try to also make it fun for the user, and
always.
But then there's also the downside to make it clear to the user, right? So that they're not confused by certain terms, right? But I think the confectionery worked really well, and the terms make sense, and people strive to be master bakers and confectionists now, which is pretty cool.
Cool. Ben, yeah, thanks so much.
One last thing. Also, I wanted to thank the product team for the last quarter. It was really fun to work with all of the guys. Tanush, who was working mostly on the back end. Ian for the great designs we also see later. And Dennis, who did a lot of bulk work on both front and back end, and was really owning a lot of products.
And Dennis really made some magic happening on the USDT. Yeah, because initially we thought that this was going to take a bit longer, and then he really hustled through to make this happen a lot faster.
Exactly. Yeah. Also, he's very active in the German community, which I never have to do anything. He's replying to all the tech questions, which is great. Then our new two hires, Chi and Trung, who are really ramping up now on the front end side. So far, really promising work they've done. And also Steven and Jimmy, who are a bit in the background, but they still put a lot of good work out for the administrative operational side on the engineering team.
Very cool. No, teamwork makes the dream work. So really amazing.